Good morning. It's a very bright and very cold morning. I think the mink just found out that I have a fish in the net. I haven't been fishing long. Big mix-up and mess-up today. I'll go over that in a little bit. I gave myself an hour after putting the lines out because everything went wrong before I was going to start changing things. And yeah, rod ripped off, got a fish in the net. Let's have a look at it, and then maybe I'll actually be able to explain what happened today. Now down there in the wind, it is nasty. It's so cold. Up here, I got the bivvy blocking the wind. Temperature is very different. It's much more comfortable. But like just the net sitting in the water there, the whole top half of the net froze just from the breeze. So I'll go over the rig and the bait on that in a minute. Just get this fish out of the net. Here. Oh, calm down, calm down. Oh, you're nice. Slow double. A little bit of a messed up gill plate there, but beyond that, he's absolutely in mint shape. Please tell me that the sunlight's going to get on that. I can't tell. So much shadow on the camera. But there we go. First fish of the morning. Didn't think it was actually going to happen until maybe later on today, being so cold, but what a gorgeous fish. Well, how much can you actually see? How much is in shadow? Oh man, the sun is so bright today. And I set up the wrong camera. The other camera has a filter to help take care of some of that light. But anyway, had a fish. Now, today everything went wrong. And I'm not surprised. That's usually how things go for my fishing. I left the house about an hour later than normal because I kept redoing my alarm. I didn't get to sleep until somewhere around 1:30 in the morning. Alarm was supposed to go off at 4. I didn't finally get out of bed until 5:30. Got everything set up, loaded up the van, drove all the way down to the spot, about a 30-minute drive down here, and actually set up the bivvy, had everything out here, was just about to start putting together the rods, and I realized that I forgot the pod and the alarms at home. I didn't have all the lights on in the morning, so the pod being in a black bag, I just didn't see it, I guess. So I had to pack up, drive all the way home, get the pod, drive all the way back, get out here, set up the pod, set up the rods, dumped my tackle box. And of course I'm getting a phone call. I will call that person back. Yeah, I dumped my tackle box trying to set everything up. Cleaned all that up, get my 3 casts out there, all of them stopped short of the spot. I was so grumpy at that point, I said screw it, left them out there. They're not exactly where I wanted them, but they were close enough that I was okay to just not crank them in and redo them right away. So I set up the shelter, just sat down and decided, okay, I'm going to have an hour of just sitting here being grumpy and miserable before I really just get back into the proper fishing mode. I have a northeast wind. It is bitterly cold. So down by the water, you know, big waves crashing on the rocks. It's freezing on the rocks because it's so cold. Up here, I'm kind of behind a tree and in the brolly, so believe it or not, the temperature is actually a huge difference with that warm sun where there's less wind compared to just 10 feet that way. yeah, I've only been fishing half hour or so, not that long. And I'm watching the rods. The bobbins aren't moving, rod tips aren't moving, other than what the wind is doing to them. And yeah, I'm using 3 rods right now on my spot, spread out quite a bit so that I can avoid as many tangles as possible. So the right hand rod, the one that I have out the furthest, using a hinge stiff rig with a pink Pinana pop-up. That's what did all the fish for me a week and a half ago from this spot when it was 25 degrees out. Where right now it's Friday, it's -3 out. This past Tuesday it was 20 degrees out. So the weather's been just nuts lately. But I think that really helped with the water temperatures climbing a little bit. This wind is going to push it right back down. But yeah, hinge stiff rig, just cast a single out there. I have my right hand rod is a single on the hinge stiff. My middle rod is a very supple braid with a pineapple, mainline pineapple juice pop-up soaked in pineapple goo. That's cast out with a small ball of pack bait. My left hand rod is again just a single, but it is a 12 mil, so much smaller bait on a Ronnie rig. Ronnie or well, maybe it's just a hair rig. I don't remember. That's the small one. Just in case small is the order of the day. Now, for the past 2 weeks, the water here has been crystal clear. Today, obviously, because of this northeast wind, it's slamming into this shore, and it's got quite a bit of color. There's only about 6 inches of visibility, whereas we could see out 30-40 feet. We could see out 6 feet down, no problem. It was gin clear just last week. So very, very major change in conditions. But yeah, anyways, the right hand rod, I'm watching it, bobbin's not moving, no sound from the alarm, so they're doing their job in the wind. And then I just see the tip smash twice. And I watched, thinking maybe it was a wind gust, and the bobbin dropped a bit, got some noise from the alarm, and the tip did it again, so I ran out, and boom, low double common. Can't complain about that. Now, bringing that fish in, it did catch the middle rod and pulled the line off the spot maybe a couple feet. So I am going to redo the middle rod. And once I had the fish in the net and I was setting up the camera, I had a whack on the left-hand rod. So I'm thinking a small shoal of fish came in and maybe hit a couple of the lines. So if that's the case, if there is some movement over there, I want to get that middle rod redone. The wind is worse than it was an hour ago. The gusts are getting really bad, so I may have to switch to heavier leads. We'll have to see. But for now, I've got to call back the person who just called me because it was my mother, and I feel bad for hanging up on her. And then I'm going to get that rod done, and then we'll see how the rest of the day goes.
Well, it's been a few hours. I've had another bite. I've already zeroed the scale and the sling. Definitely want to weigh this fish. Very clearly the biggest one I've had this year so far. And this fish, there's a big drop back bite and a massive battle in this cold water and cold wind. That was a tussle. Roll over here into the sling. Get your fins down. This angry fish, he wants to keep putting his fins up. Clip. Scale's already zeroed. The sling weighed 13 ounces. Yeah, my first 20 of 2021 is 21 pounds. How about that? This fish gave such a tussle. I got him in shallow, right close, and he just did this wicked spin on the bottom and churned up all this mud. You feel him hitting the rocks. It just went absolutely bonkers. So his one side's a little bit scuffed. No scales come out, but you can tell he's scuffed up a bit. How about that? 21 pounds of a cold April common. I am absolutely pleased with that fish. Beautiful. I'm gonna get a few photos. Take that back to the water, and then I'll show you the rig while I've got it out. Okay, so let me make an adjustment there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's been a couple hours since that first fish. I've just been sitting here hiding in the brawley, really. I did do a rechuck of all 3 rods about a half an hour ago, maybe just over a half hour ago. There is another angler in the swim to my right who showed up, so I've kind of made a point of just staying in my brawley, keeping quiet. Obviously, with new lockdown rules that have come into play, we want to be even more careful about social distancing. So, you know, I've just made a point of keeping clear of the other angler, you know, not doing too much to give him any reason to come over and chat, because despite the lockdowns and all the issues going on, I've had so many people walk up and just want to chat. I think people are just so in need of that social contact that they're forgoing the rules. They're not wearing masks, and you know, they keep coming close. So I made a point of doing everything I could to avoid that from happening. The downside is that I wanted to put bait out. I wanted to put some spods out, and I didn't want to have any activity going on. So I think that paid off. Excuse me. Other than the first cast earlier, where I had pack bait on the middle rod, I haven't put any other bait out. Just been casting my singles. And so the first fish was on the right hand rod on a hinge stiff with a pink pop up. I think the pink pinana. Is that what it was? Yeah, pink pinana. That made my day. I was ready to sit here until the end of the day, you know, sunset, with that fish. That would have been satisfying for me. But, you know, kind of just drawing it out, ate my lunch. Like I said, stayed hidden in the brawley, staying out of this wind. They say the wind is northeast at 26 kilometers an hour, it's more than that for sure, and the gusts are definitely up over 60. The gusts are huge. The chop and the spray coming off the water is freezing all the rocks where I have to get down to net a fish, do my recasts and such. But yeah, it's been quiet. Nothing's been happening. I actually thought I was about to fall asleep for a moment, and then I heard a single bleep on the middle rod, and I looked out, and the bobbin dropped. Not a little bit at a time, or not an up and down. It just dropped. So I ran out, set into it, and I could tell right away, much better fish. Got it about halfway and realized that it had stayed between the two other rods, the other lines. Wasn't hitting them. It was coming in perfectly straight, exactly how I would want it. And then it decided that it wasn't having any part of that. And I got it in close, just to the margin, kind of to the left of where my pod is. And it got in shallow, and I saw this big boil, and then all of a sudden this massive churn up of mud and debris just kind of come up off the bottom, and the fish screamed. Maybe a 30-40 yard run back out into open water, then swung around to the right, and I was sure it was going to catch the right hand rod where it meets the water, because I thought it was out past that. Apparently it was just under. Come out, got it right in front, and it did a proper roll. Now that the water's actually cleared up a little bit, a proper roll right in front. And I could see it was a really long fish. Couldn't really tell the size, just that it was long. And a couple of really dogged kind of pushes for it to try and get away at that last few minutes there. And I missed it with the net the first time, but I got it the second. So I am very, very, very happy at this point. 2 fish in really tough conditions, the kind of conditions that I really should have stayed home and slept in for. But yeah, first 20 of the year, and it was 21 pounds. Can't complain. Enough of that rambling. We'll look at the rig, shall we? I'm using 15-pound mainline, as always, the Gardner GT HD. I've got the Corda Armor Cord shock leader, braided shock leader. Then I have a 10-inch section, 10 or 12-inch section of spliced lead core to a 90-gram inline lead. Then I have a very short hook link. That's maybe 5 inches from the quick change swivel in the anti-tangle sleeve right to the hook eye. It's a very, very short rig. Single little split shot on there. How's that? Give you a better look there. That's a size 4 Universal Perfection hook. Little quarter kicker on there. Then a bait screw to a Hinders fruit salad pop-up. I had just switched this bait. This was a mainline pineapple juice pop-up that I had soaked in goo, but I figured because the water was really murky earlier, I figured maybe that was just too dark a yellow. Once you soak it with the goo, it goes really dark, and I love that for clear water, but with it being darker, murkier, I wanted something brighter, so I put this on. And this is actually brighter than my Shimano pop-ups that I've been using and doing well with. So I thought, okay, well, I'll put this out there. And then within about 15 minutes, the water in the area where I cast this to actually started to clear, and all the mud has actually pushed down to our right here. So I ended up fishing a bright bait in clear water anyways, and yeah, it worked. This was only about 25-30 minutes. Wasn't out long. Not long at all. I think maybe I should get this back out. It's 2 fish to singles, and most of my fish a week and a half ago were to singles. So I'm going to stick with that for now. Nothing's happened on the left rod. Maybe that's what's going to go next. We'll have to see. I got all day. Still enjoying my time. Maybe I can have that nap I was thinking about. Well, I was planning on getting up and doing some filming, extra shots. I really wanted to get a battle on camera. and nothing was happening. Now, I thought I had turned the camera on, and I went down and I did a rechuck of my left-hand rod, the one that got me the first fish this morning on the hinge stiff. And I cranked it in, pulled some weeds off, bombed it out there, and I was way right of the spot. So I cranked it in again, bombed it out there again, didn't feel bottom, and it was still way right of the spot. Wasn't happy with it. Cranked it in again, waited for a drop in the breeze, bombed it out there a third time, got exactly the drop I wanted, within a few feet of where I wanted. I was happy with the spot. Tightened the line, set it in the rod rest, put the bobbin on, looked up to make sure the line was going out tight from the rod tip, and my bobbin dropped straight down, line went slack. I got a third fish. It's just down in the net, another long male. I'm assuming male. Long and thin, big common, probably mid to high doubles. So yeah, even though I screwed up those casts, that fish wanted it, must have clocked it as soon as it hit the bottom. So I'm gonna get that fish brought up. We'll take a look at it, and I'm seriously contemplating redoing the other two rods again, but you know, leaving the middle rod out there earlier, you know, bait chain got a bite, but I don't know. I'm gonna rethink my strategy right now, but let's have a look at that fish first. I think I'm gonna have to do some reworking on the line. It's getting really bad line twists. It's all just going nasty. So I'm gonna, after I put this fish back, I'm gonna probably take off a bit of line and try and fix that. Maybe I need a swivel above my loop or something. There we go, lead clip to a hinge stiff that I definitely have to fix the bend on that now. That's twisted up. Oh yeah, got a lot of fixing to do there. I'm not going to weigh this one. I don't need to, I don't think. Quality fish, beautiful color, big high back on it. Calm down, she's angry. I can't tell how that looks in the camera. Yeah, mid to high double, probably 17, maybe 18. Maybe I could weigh them, but I don't know. Good solid fish, very thick. Very, very happy with that. I was not expecting to do well today. Thought maybe I was pushing my luck for a fish. Oh, it's bugging me. That's better, I can see better. Yeah, I thought I was pushing my luck for a fish, but I've had 3. Man, what a difference. You know, having the multi-rod rule, if I would have been fishing the way I am with my left-hand rod, I never would have had even a touch today. Being able to experiment, try different things, cast in different spots. Oh, calm down, calm down. You know, having these privileges that we didn't have before has really changed the game, and I think it's changed it for the better. You know, it's slow enough that I can keep all 3 out and keep experimenting. If I come back on another warm day and it gets crazy, you know, it might be like last time and I can only have 1 rod in. What a day. What a day. I am so happy. I need to put the kettle on.
Well, that's been a very long and quiet afternoon. Yeah, probably about an hour after I had that third fish, the sun was really, really back behind me here. Pretty much nothing then, other than the occasional liner after that. The wind did die down, but with the sun further back, it just got cold, really cold. I haven't even checked the weather apps yet. I'm cold. Needless to say, I went through a couple kettles today, brewing up tea and hot chocolate and whatnot to stay warm for the afternoon. But yeah, no fish activity after that third one. So it's just coming up on 8, so I've almost done a full 12 hours. Went way better than I thought it would. I'm kind of holding out, given how things went for me a week and a half ago. There was bites to be had at dark, or just before dark. So, I've been sitting here hoping that the fish are going to move up onto that, either on the shallow flat in front of me, or just at the drop off where my lines are. And I'm just hoping to pick up one more before I go, because I'm leaving very soon. I'm cold. I've got most of the gear packed up, and yeah, even though I came prepared today, I'm a little bit hungry now. So I kind of want to go celebrate, get a nice greasy, fatty burger, and just knock my cholesterol all to hell. Just to celebrate catching 3 fish today in such tough conditions. But it's been a good day. Despite the wind, the weather was quite nice. Nasty wind, but yeah, the sun was beautiful today. It was really warm. It was funny to sit here and sweat in the heat of the sun, but then to step 10 feet away and have ice freezing on my line and splashing up and freezing the nets and stuff. Really, really interesting kind of spring morning or spring day. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little bit out of it. I'm tired. It's been a great day, but a long day. It's cold. I've said that a couple times. Oh. I've been watching my right-hand rod for the last probably 3 hours. I've been doing regular recasts of all 3. My right-hand rod has been the only one getting any kind of proper indication all afternoon, well, since that third fish. It tightens right up, but not fast enough for the alarm to recognize it. Then it lets back down just as slowly, or as silently, let's say. No movement to the tip of the rod. It's one thing that I pay attention to in this spot, because 90% of your bites are dropbacks. Anytime it does go up, the first thing I'm doing is watching that rod tip for any kind of movement, and it's not happening. But there's no wind gusts. The other bobbins aren't reacting at all, let alone in the same way. But that right-hand rod, something has been bumping it or nudging it throughout the afternoon, with nothing for me to definitively strike into. So, yeah, it just tightened up again. The wind is on it, but there's no gusts, and the other bobbins haven't even flinched. And the tip is rock solid. It's not moving at all. I'm going to give it probably another half hour, and hopefully something happens. After the third fish, I really did expect another one on the pink with the hinge stiff, but that rod hasn't even had what I would think is a liner. All the indication is on the right-hand rod that I think partway through the day I switched from the middle position to the right hand, just because of where some casts
kind of went with the breeze. They didn't land where I wanted them to, but they landed in good spots. So that's that yellow fruity pop-up. Keeps getting, just keeps tightening up. I might have to go out there and check it. Problem is, this late in the day, knowing I'm about to leave, I don't want to do a recast and ruin my chance at a end of the day bite, even though one of my bites came immediately after a recast earlier. It's a tricky spot. Anyway, I'm going to keep watching that. I'm going to give it about a half hour before I take down the shelter and put the rest of everything in the wagon. So for now, I'm going to sign off. If something happens, you'll see it. If not, we'll be on to the next video.